Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Get Dirty Garage, where today, time to start working on the heating, cooling, HVAC, air conditioning stuff. So I got this this whole kit from Restomod Air, and today I think I really just want to try and accomplish getting the vents in, and the main unit in, and then the controls. So, I mean, I'm not going to do all the plumbing to the engine and stuff like that, but see if we can't get it to the point where we know it will function and fit and put everything into the Elco. So we got a ton to do and not much time to do it in, and it's getting really cold. So anyways, let's go ahead and let's get dirty. Is this thing on? Yeah. Okay, so time to figure out the heater, air conditioning, everything else. So I got this unit from Restomod Air that's the AC and the heater and everything all in one tiny little unit, and it will bolt onto the firewall. And you can get the kits and everything there, but it's got all its own brains and harnesses and stuff like that. Water valves, got the condenser kit and all that fun stuff. So it'll take care of the heating and the cooling. And the reason I went with this one over, like, I think there's you know, like Vintage Air, or, you know, I couldn't get a stock system to fit in there with the LS. But really the reason that I went with Restomod is these controls. They're just tiny little knobs that basically just take a hole you can put anywhere. You know, there's one for vent and heat and all that fun stuff, but it's basically just a 1/4-inch hole, and you can mount those basically anywhere where you've got, you know, kind of a surface to go through. So they're really indiscreet and out of the way, and the unit itself is really small and fits. I mean, the Elco is not a big interior, so it's not going to take, you know, huge big unit in there. So this is actually, I think, what they call their Bantam. It's one of their smaller ones, but you know, those controls also have like little sticker thingies on them, where, you know, ons and offs for fans and cool and hot. So you can, once they're in there, then they'll poke through that hole, and I think they'll look really good. So got some choices on where to mount this, but not gonna do all of the wiring and all the brains and everything else at this point, but I do need to get a spot for the box to go up behind the dash, and also need to figure out air distribution. You know, this has like blend between defrost and vents and floor, so you can blend however you want to blend. But I got to figure out how to get air from here to the vents on the side and defroster thingy in the middle, and then something out the bottom for the toe warmer. So anyways, that's the plan for today. Won't be a complete install, but we'll get the basics in there so that we know how this is going to fit. The plumbing is pretty straightforward. It comes up and out through the fender, so that will do after we've got paint and stuff complete and get everything running under the hood and so on. But let's try and get this box in, the vents figured out, and that way at least we've got a start on that, and then get everything that's supposed to be inside behind the dash in behind the dash. So that's the plan. We'll do that. Okay, so one thing we definitely have to figure out is the physical air distribution. Off of this unit, there is 2 outlets for defrost, 2 for the vents, and then 1 for the floor. And then it's basically plumbed with this flexible pipe that kind of fits down over those. And then you can kind of run them behind the dash wherever it is that you want to. So got to figure out how to get this to attach to, like, that's the defrost vent, and then these are the side vents that we had modified a little bit, and I think maybe with those that can actually fit in there, so with some good HVAC, you know, that foil sealing tape. I think we can make those, and then that way we can snake that in and connect there. So we'll just have to split that off. And then the center vent has like this big wide opening here, and in the Camino it had this cross-car distribution vent that just kind of sat into. Can't really use this whole cross-car thing because it sits way too far forward in the dash, since we had to shorten up that dash panel. But I think what I can do is basically just kind of steal this adapter connector thing off of here, maybe chop this off, and then figure out a way to get that vent plumbed in here to these 2 center ones. So got a bunch of figuring out to do, and see what we can accomplish and come up with for air distribution. I think actually I got an idea. I'll start with this. Start with the defroster vent. I think I can just kind of build a plate, you know, with some holes, pipes that come out that can fit into that flexible duct, and then screw that together. So that one shouldn't be too challenging. Let's get started with that one. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking for the connection we got to make. It's got the air box has got 2 outlets for defrost, and we got to get that into the defroster duct, and I think we got room to put those 2 side by side. So I'm thinking, it gets me in trouble, that I can actually make a couple of like tubes to connect this to, that I can, actually then weld to a plate that will cover that, and maybe make an inside lip or something to screw it together. That way I can take the 2 defrost hoses and connect them right there. So what I did is I cut out a strip and a couple inches wide, and I think I can take this and bend it into a small enough circle, I'm hoping, and that way we can kind of make that transition between tubage and this square hole here. So Kind of get started like that. Grab a pair of pliers here real quick. Kind of just forming a circle, not very circle-ish. Hoping that I can get somewhere to that size that we're looking for here. Okay, gotta go a little smaller here. Do a little pipe crushing. We're getting close. I think we are right about to the point where close to the diameter of that thing. So let's see if we can make this into a circle. Okay, I think we are right about there, so let's, I'm gonna take the sparkly wheel of terror, I think, and try and cut both sides off at the same time here. see how close we got. Yeah, it should work good, and then we can put a clamp around that. So let's zap that into a circle real quick. Sorry about that. Now just a little grindification. Well, I think that will work. It will go into that distribution hose, and obviously this will have a clamp around it. I'm going to make one more of these, and then we can figure out how to attach it to that thing. So we'll go from there. Okay, so I got those two made, and I think they can, be able to get the distribution, something like that there. So what I'm thinking is I went and cut another strip and bent it up a little bit so it kind of slides in there. And then what I can do is to plate this off, attach those to the plate, weld them to the plate, weld the plate onto this. And then I can actually then, go through the plastic and then screw this right in there, so it'll kind of be a permanent attachment. So at least that's the thought. And what I will do is cut out a piece that fits this and get this welded up, and then we can kind of make the adaptification thing. So we will pick it up at that point. Okay, so here's what I got made, with the strip around here and then just a plate welded to it. And what this, I've got a welder nub in there, but that should be able to, that can slide into there, and then I can actually put a couple of screws to hold that into the duct itself, because that goes into the car kind of like that. And then these we can weld on to that plate. Got to knock a couple holes in this thing and see where we can, so we can get those two welded on, something like that. And that way we'll have the 2 rounds to a square adapter. So I'm gonna see if I can mark out some holes and get this welded together, and then we can screw it into that, and then we should have a usable duct for at least the defrosters. So let's do let's do that. Okay, so these things are about 2 inches. 2-inch hole saw is probably going to be just a little bit too big, but we can fill in gaps as needed, I think. So we'll see if we can knock a couple of holes in this thing. We can get it in here nice and solid. Okay. Okay, that gets us a spot to start attaching. Let's see if we can spot these things in there. Okay, now just gotta do a whole bunch of filling. I think I'll weld this from the back side here, and that way you kind of keep everything, all the nasty looking parts on this side at least. So, okay, we will go from there and then see if we can't get that attached to the vent. So I'm going to finish doing some weldifying here. So we'll pick it up at that point. Okay, so here's our finished product. Yeah, I lied, I didn't keep the ugly parts in. But anyways, that should then be able to slide up into there. And then we can put a couple of screws on some self-tappers, I think, in there. And keep that in place. And that way we are adapted from square to round. So let's put a couple of these in. And I think just one on each side of this probably should hold it just fine. So that should take us in the right direction. We've got the ability to get the hose on from the heater core, both sides of that, a couple of clamps, and we should be in pretty good shape. So I think that that should work for that vent. Now let's see if we can figure out what to do with that center vent thing, what you call it. So we will pick it up from there. We'll throw this in the car and should be ready to, plumb or pears or peaches or whatever you want to do. So we'll go from there. Okay, well, I got the dash out, and then the center vent, again, it used to have a cross-car thing in it, but that center vent attached, just kind of plugged into this. This used to attach to the dash, but we've cut all that stuff up, so we've got to figure out something. But I think what I can do is kind of similar to what we did on the defrost, is chop these ends off, which we can't use, and make some sort of a plate or something that can fit into that hole with adapterizer. So let's go ahead and get these ends cut off here. See if we can figure out how to make that work. Okay, so this we can attach to that. We can probably, if we can get this mounted to the dash where it's supposed to be, someplace in that hole, and when this plugs in, and this just clips in, we should be able to just press that in place. So let me show you a little bit about what I'm thinking here. So this portion clips up in here, and then this basically just sits in there, and then we can make some sort of an adapter for this. But if we can find a mounting strategy for this, attach it to the dash after we've or since we've modified it, maybe we can then just have this as part of the dash, and then when this plugs in, it'll be kind of that same connection that was in the Camino. So let me noodle on that for a little bit, see what happens here. This is going an awful ways forward. Maybe we'll have to cut that off a little bit shorter, but we'll try and figure that out and see if we can't find some way to mount this to the dash again, since we've chopped and hacked and modified, and pick it up from there. Okay, so I've been going over this and playing a little bit with this vent and trying to figure stuff out. And if I attach it to the dash, you know, somehow, you know, there's like a little mounting hole back up in there. If I attach it to the dash and then come out this side with, you know, another tube like we did on the defrost vent, and when you go to put the dash in the car, that crossbar comes right here and rests right up here, and that's where this used to just kind of sit right on top of the heater box in the Camino. So I can't really get that to go in and then down, and then so I'd have to come out the side. And if I did that, then I can seal this off and go out the side over here, but then I think I'm going to run into where glove box is and things like that. So I thought about if I did that, then I could attach these two together, you know, the outlets and this, and then come out the side here. But I think that sits close enough to that bar where, you know, this is going to be bouncing around, and there you hit a bump, I think you're going to have quite a rattle in the dash. So I think the best solution, unfortunately, is going to be mounting this piece to the crossbar in the car, and then coming off the bottom with some sort of a inlet. But in order to do that, unfortunately, I think the dash has got to go back in the car, so I can kind of figure out where to locate this. So anyways, all that said, I think it's time to throw the dash back in and see where everything sits in there. So we will pick that up at that point. Oh boy. Okay, with the dash in and everything installed, you can see that vent. Hopefully you can pick that out. That rests basically right on that crossbar. So got to figure out a way we can mount that to that crossbar and keep it in that spot. So when the vent is put in from the outside, they kind of go together, and then the outlet will be going down back there. So anyways, fun stuff. We'll see if we can get in there and figure out where it's supposed to be located. Go from there. Okay, so here's what I got. Right now that's kind of in the position where it's got to be for that vent to go in and engage into it. And right now I kind of got it taped into position on the crossbar. So time to pull the dash out again and see if we can't figure out a mounting for that beast in that position. So let's do that. Okay, so I got the dash pulled out, and here's my ill-conceived plan. I don't know, but I think I can bend up a couple of little brackets like that, and actually be able to screw that down into the crossbar here, and maybe pop rivet it into that vent, and that way I can take it in and out and be able to you know, locate it if I need to. But I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to drill some holes and see if I can get this stuff attached. Not sure if I can get a camera on to get into that position or not, but we will pick it up from there, see if we can't get this thing actually mounted where it's supposed to be. Okay, well I think that vent's nice and solid, so when we go to put this trim piece in, it'll engage right in there. And now we just gotta work on getting distribution hose put to this one. So I'll pull this out and then we can work on that. So we're getting there. Okay, so I got that out of the car. I think we can be repeatable with where we put that in. Also made a little bracket that went up that center mount thingy there, so it's tied in on the sides and the center so it doesn't rotate and so on. So now I gotta figure out how to get air into this. So went ahead and made another thing. And I think we can do kind of the same thing that we did on that on the defrost vent. I want to place that in the middle because these are split in two. But so I cut out a strip about that long and about that wide. And I think what we can do is kind of bend it so it can fit inside this something. Something like that. Make these corners a little sharper, I think. Those are pretty sharp in there. Okay, flatten that out just a touch. And the next one's got to be right about there. Probably should mark that since my finger is not a good indicator. Obviously, neither is the pin. Gotta be a little deeper. Okay, you kind of see what I'm after here is trying to, and I'll bend this around, gonna make a square that fits down in there. I'm gonna have to trim around like this center, but I think we can get something that kind of fits in there, and that way we can drive some screws through the sides here, kind of hold that in place, and then cap that off again. So I'll keep fussing with this and see if we can't make something that fits within that little thing, so that once we get that in the car and attach that in the center, we should have air distribution coming from this to that to these to the vents. So yeah, so that's what the plan is. Let me fuss with that, and we'll get back to it at that point. So, by the way, I was reminiscing the other day and thought back to high school and how excited I was when I got to be a senior. Now, not so much. Okay, well, let me get some work done. Okay, so I got my box made, and it does fit down in there. It's nice and snug, so we can get that sealed up. And at this point, I think we got to cap this off, and that way be able to again knock a hole in the center of it and put the little tube in the back of it. So let's get busy on that and get some welding done here, and then we will pick it up at that point. So far so good. Okay, well, I'm gonna let this thing cool off a little bit, run it through the sandblaster, throw a little primer at it, and then we'll fit it into the vent and see if we can't stuff everything into the car. So we'll go from there. Okay, well, I got this cleaned up and primered up, and also put a little bit of primer on the little brackets we got there. So hopefully I can get this fitted back on there in the spot where it came off. It's kind of a tight fit in there, which is good for the distribution of the airage. Okay, so from there, I think all we got to do is put a couple of screws through the plastification here. That went well. I know there's a couple of you out there saying, why didn't you get a longer bit for the drill, but yeah, I couldn't find one. Okay, honestly, I think that those couple will hold it in place just fine. So at this point, we've got air in, through, and out through the vents. So let's go stuff this thing in the car and see if our concept is viable. So let's do that. This is that little bracket that I just put on there to support that center, so that should slide down on that, and then we can locate these screw holes again, and it should go back in the same spot that it came out of. good measure in the center here. Okay, well, I think that should be good. We've got room to get hose on the back, and that should be in position for the dash to come in and attach like such as. So I think we're there on that center vent. So we'll call that a win, and now let's see if we can figure out the toe warmers. So that'll be next. Okay, so now it's time to, I thought I actually had to figure out floor vent and all that fun stuff, but actually read the instructions. Imagine that. The floor vent is actually already on the back of the unit, and then these are like 2 defrosts and then 3 vents out the top. So this is actually made to go right to a flat firewall. It's got these weld-in studs that you could weld onto the firewall and bolt that on, but good luck getting those in the right spot. So, but anyways, my firewall isn't exactly flat, so I think I'll build some standoffs with just some angle iron, kind of mark out where the holes have to be, and then put these studs through and then weld them from the backside, and then I can weld these angles right to the firewall. I got plenty of room in there, so I can do a little bit of a standoff. So that isn't a problem. So biggest challenge, I think, will be just marking out where holes need to go, and then we can knock some holes in here and make some brackets. So that'll be next. Not a lot of room in there. That's why I'm thinking it's going to be easier to get the studs located on brackets, and then I can bolt the brackets to this thing, and then weld the brackets in place while I'm holding the whole assembly, and then with 6 hands or something like that. And that way I can have, it'll be a lot easier to get in and out. So that's the theory anyway. So I'm going to knock some holes in these, and then we can weld those studs in. See if we can't bolt the whole thing together, and then get it into the car and kind of locate it and figure it out from there. So big fun. Okay, so I knocked some holes in those, put the studs through, and then bolted them in place so they're in the right spot. So I'm going to go ahead and just try and get these located here. Hopefully without burning anything down. Okay, now I should be able to just pull these off, finish welding those studs from the back side here, and then we can put this whole unit kind of up in place where I want it, and then just weld this to the firewall. So that way we'll get all the mounting points in the right spot at the right time. Bolt needs to be just a little bit longer. Okay, and then that'll be mounted into the mounted at the firewall here, and that way it'll go on and off. So I'm gonna finish welding these up, throw a little bit more primer at them, and then we'll see if we can't locate this whole mess in the car and kind of zap it in place. So we will go from there. Okay, so I got those brackets welded into the firewall, and unfortunately with me laying upside down and having one hand balancing that unit and the other hand measuring and leveling, and the third hand you know, trying to tack those in place, really didn't have an opportunity to get a fourth hand and put a camera in there. So anyways, you kind of see what we ended up with. It'll be a little bit off of the firewall, so I think at this point we can go ahead and put that unit in there and then start running some hoses. So we will go from there. Okay, well, that is that is installed. Those defrost tubes, I couldn't even get close to getting them on there with that mounted up in there. I got it pretty tight up to the cowl area there, so I had to pull that back off and put those in there, and had just enough hose to get all 5 of those vents run, so we should be in good shape. I think we can throw the dash back in at this point and then figure out controls. So I'm gonna go clean up a little bit. That stuff's a little sharp back there. So, but yeah, let's throw the dash in and figure out where we want to put the knobs and go from there. Okay, now that the dash is all dashing and the vents are all venting, got to figure out where to put these controls for the system. So it's basically just these 3 little knobs that stick through, and I'm thinking, it gets me in trouble, thinking that really kind of here is my best option. Just because if I go and actually made kind of a CAD model, I guess, and made a little pod and put them in there, then it's kind of like the stock dash. It really makes those gauges almost unreadable. So I want to be able to read the gauges and be able to also control the temperature and all that fun stuff. So basically I think it's gonna have to go here, and those little stickers and so on, they just all you need is like a 1/4 inch hole. So I think I'll mark those holes out, drill through the console here and put them right there. So don't know. You guys got any better ideas? I got nothing. So I'm not sure where else to think to put it. I mean, everything else is pretty much vinylage and kind of rounded and smooth. So I think that's going to be our best effort of putting that right there. Okay, so I got these marked out where I think they should go, and I got to looking at how these mount. They just go in from the backside, but they got this little anti-rotation tab that's not quite centered, but I got to drill like a separate hole, like an 1/8 inch hole next to the 1/4 inch hole, and actually not 1/4 inch. I fiddled around with a little bit to understand. I think I got a 19/64 bit or something. I'm going to drill some pilot holes here. Make sure we get everything in the right spot. It's a lot deeper than I thought I remembered. Hopefully, those things will go all the way up through there. And they will not. Okay, so we're going to have to figure out something in order to get those mounted in there. I think I'm going to have to take some of this material out of the back here and figure out how to get those to poke all the way through. So we will figure that out. Go from there. Okay, so I finally got this figured out. Spent way too much time on this, but anyways, I had thinned out that area and then, you know, taking a look at it, and just looked like the knobs were kind of sitting on top, which, yeah, to be fair, they were sitting on top. So I spent way too much time and made this little recessed area in here. Try to put some style in it, but basically just so I could collect all the dirt and grime that I'm entitled to, you know, make sure everything gets a spot to go. But anyways, I think I got this to the point where I can get these controls mounted up in there, and they just kind of are up from the back side, and just see, put the fan over here. Okay, then let's see, what do we want there? Temperature or mode? We'll go mode. They got like just a little bit over a 1/4 inch hole, but then they got these little anti-rotation holes you got to get in there so the switch doesn't rotate when you turn the knob, I guess. And then this one should be temperature. Okay. Now we can get the stickies on there straight. Alright, then these knobs are just a little Allen head thingy. Okay, so there are controls. readjust this one just slightly. It's got these little indicators on it, so I'm just trying to get those lined up. There we go. Okay, so that's where we will have our temperature and our fan and mode and temperature controls. So I think that that'll work out pretty good. Let's go stuff that in the car and take a look. Okay, so here they are in the car with gauges and shifter panel. I did go ahead and paint that shifter control thing. Couldn't stand the color difference, you know, get a little ADD on it, but then just put actually those little model train stickers for the park reverse neutral and stuff. But I think that actually looks like it kind of belongs there, so looks like it was thought out. So afterthought maybe, but a thought. So anyways, I think we are good with controls and vents and unit and stuff installed. So big task done. Probably should have done that quite a while ago, but she's in. All right, guys, so I think that's going to do it for this edition of Let's Get Dirty Garage. I mean, did get quite a bit accomplished. I mean, I think now we are able to have air conditioning, the vents are venting, the dash is dashing, and the controls are controlling. So I think it was worthwhile to get all that stuff in and make sure everything fits while kind of building that interior. So we're getting close to wrapping that up. Hopefully next time we can get close to finishing kind of that interior look, and then we'll check it out from there. But hey, I appreciate you guys so much, and you know, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. And if you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. I really enjoy interacting with you guys. So anyways, I appreciate you guys getting dirty with me today. We'll see you next time. Take care.